You are in for an interesting ride.
Hello and welcome to another ET Newsroom episode. In this short piece, I've dug into my archives to find some material that I never edited, I never worked on, apart from obviously recording the interview. And this one is with a Scots guy from the Outer Hebrides, from the Isle of Lewis. And about 2016, something in that region, he contacted me about a fairly extraordinary experience, which, to be honest, I pushed the boundaries. In 2019, we finally got to record the interview. Now, Angus Morrison is his name, and he works away. So it's very difficult to get an internet connection because it's often on oil rigs. So, and then someone on this occasion created an issue with the internet connection, which caused everybody problems, us included. That's one of the reasons I didn't work on this piece, because the audio was really a challenge. In decluttering my files, I decided, what the heck, I will put some work in and edit this down. It's just a short, just over 30 minutes long, and I have done some drastic editing. He talks quite a bit about his experience as a TI, a targeted individual, and he went through a few weeks of some excruciating experiences, which he believed were directly linked to a royal bloodline. And when he agreed to leave the UK, which he did, he lives permanently in Spain, in Barcelona, with his wife now. All the harassment stopped. So it's kind of interesting. It's a bit of a mixed bag. So we do talk about that a little bit. I was very interested in the TI experience and did quite a bit of research on it a little while ago. And it is very disconcerting, because often it's directed energy weapons using microwave frequencies, that kind of thing. And then we got on to the part that is amazing. Now, you also probably will find it a stretch, but I would just say, bear with it. Who knows? I won't go on it anymore. You enjoy this. You will see me as my previous life as a brunette, because the blonde, although I like it and I've got used to it now, I've always been dark, always had that Latino element to my nature, and still do. And I always identified as a brunette. But through some, let's say, inexperienced hairdressers, I came out, instead of highlights is the proper word, I came out fully blonde. And it was too much of a faff to change it back, and I didn't want to totally ruin my hair. And the weird thing is, my mother had once said to me, I think you'd look really nice blonde. I thought she was completely nuts. But anyway, here we go. So I'm only saying that because here I am as the blonde, and then you're going to see me interviewing in 2019 Angus Morrison. So I hope you will enjoy this short. As I said, it's a bit different. You can let me know in the comments. Okay, buckle up. This is a good one.
This is the ET Newsroom, and we're here in late spring. I'm talking to Angus Morrison, all the way over in Antwerp, Belgium. But that's not where he's from. Angus and I have been hoping to get his experience recorded for quite a while. And because he works away, it's not always been possible. And then he had family things and personal things going on. So, Angus, I was just saying when you dropped off the line there that we've been trying to just hook up for a little while to get your story.
Yeah.
So, Angus, maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Little overview of who Angus Morrison is.
I started in medical radiography when I was age of 23. It didn't work out so well, and then after this I moved on. I just become involved in non-destructive testing, which is working in the oil industry, just testing metal for defects, for non-conformities, which makes sure that oil rigs don't fall into the sea, this sort of thing, or windmill sections don't collapse. And this is my job now, quality control. Here I am now working in sunny Belgium, and it's good. I'm liking it here. I've just come from the Netherlands to work here. I live in Barcelona in Spain. I'm married here with a wife who disapproves of me talking completely of this.
Well,
it's all good.
I know it is hard. This is another thing, isn't it, that we hear about a lot, that the other halves or family, friends or business people all find it very tricky to deal with and really would sooner not hear about it. But I think it's really important for lots of reasons.
So do I. I think just out unusual. So we'll talk about Thailand.
Absolutely, because it was such an astonishing event that happened to you. And if you could just give us a little bit of background about what you were doing in Thailand and a lead up.
What I was doing in Thailand, at the time I got away because I wasn't doing well in university. Things were bad at home, and something felt wrong. And that was what felt wrong. I now know I was being attacked by psychotronic weapons. And that's the reason I left the United Kingdom. It was really important to me at the time to leave. I didn't know it. And that psychotronic attack, the weapons just leave you confused, they leave you disorientated, and they leave you speaking like a complete idiot and thinking like an idiot. One thing I got right, I got out of United Kingdom and I went to Thailand for a holiday. And my work went bankrupt. It didn't go well on the islands and the company I was working for. So I didn't see any reason to go back. That was in 1999. I loved Thailand. I thought it was warm. It's not windy like the Hebrides. I'm not freezing. I'm not cold all the time. And people were friendly. The women were way lovely. It was good. I spoke to a few teachers by accident, and they taught English there, and decided to stay on. Funny enough, I had a few people, like policemen. I would have a few beers and chatting away, and some or government officials, and they were friendly fellows. And they said, "Hey, if you like it here, just stay on, enjoy it." So I thought, why not? I let my flight go back to the UK. Woof, off it went, and I was like nervous moment. Your last contact, how do I get back? I had no money except a few £100. You can survive well on that in Thailand. So I got a job teaching, and it was my first. That was 1999. I wish I'd made a note of the dates. I was offered working in a school teaching English, so I decided to accept this work. I ended up in a school called Raphael School, which is in Samut Prakan, outside of Bangkok. It was great. So I moved there. It's a nice place. Well, but back then it was rough. I mean, the streets had some parts open sewerage. It smelt a lot. There were crocodiles walking across the street. I'm not joking. This is in the middle of a city, on the outskirts. Snakes, king cobras, everything was there. Large spiders, whatever you wanted. And this is on the outskirts of a city. I found this really cheap place. I moved in there. It was dreadful. It was like nothing in the room. I mean, there was a bare room, nothing. Here we were in Thailand. It was a fantastic place. It was warm, sunny, stank like hell. The place was very smelly, and a lot of industry around this area. But something happened one night. That night before I was supposed to start the actual lessons of teaching, what happened was it was New Year's night, would you believe? Actually, New Year's night. I saw 3 lights in the sky. It looked like somebody was pushing a laser light, up against a wall, a white wall. It's like plasma looking. It wasn't a normal candle inside a big balloon as they like to use in Thailand. They float them up with a candle inside the balloon and everybody waves. What a wonderful thing. They put hundreds of them up and they look great. But once they reach a certain height, they flicker and they go out and they drop. But these were something different. It was 3 lights. I thought, that's weird. Everything had gone really quiet. It seemed very, very quiet. And I was on the balcony having a cigarette. And I thought, that's a bit strange. So I was watching these lights go by. I thought, that's unusual. They were very high up. Kilometre maybe. I don't know. I'm not trained to know the heights of things. It passed and I never thought more of it. And then another 4 lights came along. And this continued. After lights, and I stayed for a while, I thought, and they all passed eventually. And there was no more. And I was looking and watching, and no more lights. Slowly drifting over. I'd say, I don't know, maybe 20, 30, 40 miles an hour. It depends. Because of the height, you can't tell. I mean, drifting over, you watch them for a while, and then they were gone. They're obscured by our buildings. That's how I went. And I thought, that's really interesting. I had no camera. Digital cameras weren't heard of back then. I enjoyed, for me, and it was a new experience watching it. But I never thought any more of it. I just thought I never thought immediately, aliens. First thought that was just strange. I went back to bed, and that was it. My mattress on the hard floor. And that's all I remember, except the door knocking and the teachers turning up saying, when they weren't looking too happy, they wanted me to come and start teaching. I'd been 3 days or something, maybe 2, 3 days.
So that was 2 or 3 days that you'd been virtually unconscious
Yeah.
then. Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, I hadn't realised at the time. I just, beginning of the weekend, it was a Friday, it was starting a Monday. But I went to sleep and they were knocking on the door. It was a Monday, come on. My God, they're keen. That's what I remember thinking. They're really keen, these people. Like, get me out on a Saturday in the morning for school, for God's sake. It was a Monday. What happened at the weekend? It's not the first time that's happened. I've lost week, hours and days. Really, seriously, days. I'm relaxed walking into a class or something, and I've been gone like for 2 or 3 days. No idea what happened. This is normal in my life to lose memories, but lately, since I moved to Spain, no, I think I can account for all days. I'm going to say I have no idea, but yeah, I've got vague memories. A large white light appeared outside. It was, and there was someone there telling me to get on, and then going up. And in fact, it looked like a large balloon. That's
Okay.
the best description of it. A 6 foot in height balloon. Call them people carriers.
And this was outside your balcony?
It's on the balcony.
On the
Yeah, I
balcony?
had to step over. I think step over the balcony.
Oh, okay.
I call them people carriers now. It's not the first time I've seen such things. I've seen them in the Isle of Lewis when I was young. Then I've got another memory of being inside this huge area, which looks like cables. Everywhere there were lots and lots and lots of cables everywhere. And they were moving around. They looked like they were independently moving. And it was like a large warehouse. I mean, it looked massive. Warehouse is a good description of it, or hangar or something.
Loads of cables, what, just hanging like from a ceiling?
On the floor. Or stepping on them. Yeah. Try not to fall on them. It's like really difficult to walk on them. It was years later.
Oh, years later.
I don't remember. It took a very long time to return. I would say it took a few years anyway for it to return, and things started falling in place. And I thought, that can't be real. My mind's confabulating, it's making up nonsense, or I'm beginning to wonder if my mind's making up too much nonsense. So you have to be careful.
I think he was a military man who came over to you. This is what I recall you telling me.
Yeah.
And he spoke to you about this evening's incident or event, about what happened. Have I got that right?
Yes. He was a general. Sorry, I can't remember the gentleman's name.
Can we just set the scene a bit, Angus? I think you said that you were sitting having a coffee?
No, I mean a beer.
Or a beer.
I was enjoying a big beer. Anyway, this happened. A general came to approach me. He seemed a very friendly man. When I live in Samut Prakan, it's next to the military school. They also have a military base, and they have problems and issues. When a time was there, hand grenades disappeared, and first I heard was there, and people were using them to get money and rob buses, that sort of thing. Hey, I have a hand grenade, give me money. But you would hear a lot. Everybody in Thailand talks about things. It's not secret. What our country considers as being quiet. They don't talk about alien stuff because they think even people over there with alien stuff are a little bit crazy.
So you were just breaking up there. So are you saying that the Thai people generally consider people talking about aliens a little bit cuckoo, a bit crazy?
Yeah, up to date. I don't know anymore. I think the King of Thailand made an announcement, the previous king, that alien life exists outside of our world.
So how long was it after the event that this general approached you?
I would say it was 6-8 months. Yes, he did approach me in this one of these outside places. They have tables, you can buy coffee, buy cola, beer, something to eat. And very often policemen went there and military personnel from the academy came and approached me and started talking. He said, first he broke in very gently. He said, I heard you talking to your friends one night. You had a few beers. You mentioned alien sort of stuff. Not his words exactly, but I said, yeah, I've had some experience in my past, and to be honest, I was still a little bit confused about it. He said, something alien happened to you in Thailand. I said, absolute nonsense. I would remember. I didn't remember at the time. So he said, you were involved in an incident that happened in Bangkok, very serious incident. The essentials and basics of it was an aircraft, or what the hell you want to call it. If you're up there, what do you call them, an aircraft? Or if you're looking up, you call them spacecraft. It flew over Bangkok. Yeah, it was 10 miles in length. It was huge. Something that the Bangkok military noticed, the Thai military noticed. I think they even planned to shoot it down. It made its way across Bangkok, and then it continued to go. The same event also occurred in a city called Chiang Mai, in north of Thailand. He told me. This is exact words I can't remember, but he said that you were also involved in this matter. He said Thai military helicopter dropped special forces in front of this object. What happened was there was lights dropping from this aircraft or object that was in the sky. All along the length, hundreds, thousands of lights were dropping. Like what happened to me, ball, spherical lights. And they worked out very quickly. They were picking people up, pulling them up, and from what we know, they put them all back. Well, I wouldn't be here if they hadn't done. They took them a long time to do that. I don't know if this aircraft continued to fly for a long period or just stopped. I don't know that much, but there was certainly a lot of people were lifted up, maybe thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people at once taken up into this craft. So they dropped, as I said, Thai military special forces on a helicopter in front of this aircraft with the hope that they would get lifted. I think they thought that this aircraft was taking people, maybe not to return, or the other one, it was an invasion. They were really seriously thinking it was an alien form of invasion, and it was basically they were screwed. There was nothing they could do. So they went to collect information by putting these military personnel on board this craft. And that's where I met some of them. He told me that I gathered with these personnel, and essentially we took on what was there. We used weapons. We tried to destroy the inside of the craft. Together, they had explosive devices, and I joined them because apparently at the time, what I remember is what I'm here. I might die here. So what the hell was the matter anyway? That's what I remember. Meeting up with these military personnel. But something strange happened that I remember was that we were helped by alien individuals on that craft to try and destroy these tube things.
Can we just get a little bit of description of what it was that you were fighting?
It wasn't people. It wasn't aliens, I recall. I've got a huge blank. I don't know what happened.
So you talked about these tubes. Were these tubes, were they sentient? Were they
hundreds of meters long, some of them? From my own belief, they were collecting hormones. They were collecting hormones from people. We were being farmed, my own conclusion, for adrenaline. I don't know. Maybe it's my own thoughts. From what I've read and from what I've heard from UFO stuff on YouTube, it's possible we were being farmed.
We've got all of these people being lifted up simultaneously, taken into this huge craft, and you're one of them. And then you come in contact with some military and special forces.
Yeah.
And you are asked to help?
You must help. You're here too. You must help. They were losing personnel. They were being snatched away. We don't know what was going on. So I said, let's do it. Let's stay together then. I didn't know what it was. There was people who were offering a way out, and I took it.
What's the immediate environment like?
I have a sense of being somewhere very large. I said tubes on the floor, which are moving around. Also, the tubes were coming from high up. The source was from very high up, and where we were, I don't know what the best way to describe it. It's like a lot of straws running down from a height and spreading around. People who were there certainly had no control of what was happening. They were just disappearing. People being snatched away. They were sucking. They were sucking or joining to people. I'm not sure for a length of period. Joanne, something happened. I don't know, because we did something to damage whatever was there. We did some serious damage to this aircraft. Whoever controls it is not happy. And we had help from another alien species. They were in the same barrel of shit as we were.
Can you describe them?
Greys people, about 5 feet.
So you were being assisted, or you were assisting even, some greys? Were there a lot of these taller greys, these 5-foot greys? Were there many? Yes.
A lot of, as far as I know, they assisted us. I'm not sure. Maybe I wanted to believe it. I really can't be certain. I do believe they assisted us. They weren't too happy with what I was doing, so maybe they weren't assisting us, because we could climb up these tubes really easily. Gravity wasn't such an issue, but there was plenty of air. We could climb up the tubes. I was hand over hand, and I was going up very fast. And we deposited the explosive devices and blew away these tubes. That's all we could do to fight this thing.
Did you see all these other human beings, these other Thai folks on the craft?
I think I did. really can't remember. I'm sure I remember speaking to people. They were very afraid. They were taking people, snatching people.
When you were taken, were you surrounded by these other human beings, or you didn't see them apart from the military?
I think so, but I remember removing some of these tubes from my arm, from my body, pulling them, holding tight. I think I pulled them away. I didn't like what they were doing. I don't like it at all. I think something alien helped me. I can't be certain. I think something told me to wake up, and it wasn't human. Something tried to help me. And I spoke to the Thai military, and I don't think they expected to go back home. To be honest, I think they thought that was the end. Someone, the general feeling was, this is your last days on Earth. How are you going to go out? Okay, I felt that my life was in danger, but looking at it in the past, it's possible it wasn't in danger. It's possible these individuals, principal, set this automation, whatever it was, into planet Earth, collect hormones, and then move out again and return people for farming for a later date. That's my feelings now. Back then, no. I thought my life was in danger. Yeah, there were special forces from Thailand, yeah. Good guys. Excellent individuals.
We don't hear about this kind of thing very often, if at all. I don't think I've heard of anything like this before. What else transpired? You were shimmying up these tubes, setting these explosives, and
they wanted to destroy the ship. I think they reached a conclusion that they were being invaded by an alien force, and I'm not sure if they shot at it. How do you begin shooting something like that at the sky? I think they tried, but it meant losing a city, but keeping a country. I think that was the way of thinking. But it was a huge bloody event, actually, when I think about it. It was big, you know. I put it into the back of my mind as one of these events that happened, and I just move on. Yeah, it was actually a whole big country of 60 million people. There were 6 million people alone living in Bangkok.
So going back then to this general who approached you.
You know that he was maybe organising the whole event from the ground level. He certainly wasn't aboard it, but I believe that we were involved in just making a serious dent in this craft. We were involved in maybe destroying it in some matter, which didn't go down with whoever runs this craft. When you think of someone with the technology to fly God knows how far or from where, with a 10-mile length craft on more or less automation, and fly into a world, primitive world, to collect hormones and take the hormones in return. We actually made a hell of a dent in that craft. I think we may have gone towards its destruction with what we did. I can't be certain, as I said, but from what I heard, the militaries around the world aren't too happy about it. The statements are as like, what the hell have you brought upon us? Shit happens. Whatever happens, something has deliberately made sure that I don't remember. Apparently it's from my own, up to that point, from there till now, it's for my own health benefits to remain alive. That I don't remember. Because I think from how you look at this world, it's all controlled. I'm reached that conclusion, despite what I think or hope. And we have alien individuals walking amongst us. But we are monitored, I'm sure of it.
But just going back again to this phenomenal 1999, I guess coming into 2000, and I wanted to ask you as well, what else the General had to say describing this very serious event?
That was one of the main things he told me. I thought, from whom? He said, from what I just told you. He's basically, who then? I mean, Chiang Mai is another city in the north of Thailand, and that air vehicle, whoever it was, flew over there and did the same thing. I don't know if it's a later date or before, or if there were two vehicles doing the same thing. But it certainly reminded me of events in the Western Isles of Scotland, similar. When we saw these, did you see the Mexico, when there were these lights were all coming down, the spearetical, that was a few years ago, these spears coming down in the Hebrides. Exactly the same. We had the hundreds of these things coming over the Hebrides. When I was young, it was a normal thing to see strange lights. My grandparents, they talked about the fairy folk, which I thought complete nonsense. And I thought they were completely crazy. Well, maybe not crazy, but just a little bit daft. It turned out it was true. Spiritical objects would appear from everywhere. And they even talked at one time a giant city appeared over the islands. huge city, and they fortunately thought, I think it was about the 1950s, possibly, I can't be certain, but they thought that the fairy folk had come to take them all away. That's what they thought. And there was a massive city appeared over the islands in Scotland, the Hebrides. But it filled the sky.
So it seems to me that your background is filled, whether you were oblivious to it at the time or not, with fairly unusual goings on. Or maybe it's something about the Hebrides there.
Yeah, I'm definitely. It was a hot spot, the Hebrides. But since then, I've looked at YouTube, internet, and I hear many people describe their towns as a hot spot. Yeah, we saw a lot of lights when I was young, all the time. In fact, we saw the occupants running around graves. And they call them the fairy folk. We had another name for them. We didn't call them aliens. Well, certainly the youngest experience I had, well, one of the youngest experiences I had was my uncle. He phoned our house. He said, do you see, it was late at night. Do you see any light in the sky or anything? They were at Stornoway Airport. There was a military airbase there, NATO airbase. And what he said, he was seeing lots of lights in the sky. And my auntie was talking, yeah, they're everywhere. There's hundreds of lights in the sky. Well, I went to look outside. My God, I'd say about 30% of the sky was covered in white lights in the Stornoway direction.
Wow, gosh.
It looked like Christmas tree lights just flashing tick, 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 off and on, off and on. But it was the next day. I was very young. I was 18. I had a semi-automatic .22 rifle. That's a quite powerful weapon. It's an actual rifle with small shells. There was a ball in the sky. It was white and light. And then there was others, and then others. And I saw them trying to take a sheep up at one time. And then another sheep. Yeah, a sheep. What the hell's going on? So I didn't like what was going on. So I took a risk. I had the right. I went back in the house, got my rifle, pulled out a pack of shells of 50. But I shot one of these things. And I went and dropped. You know what it looked like? I shot a few of them. They looked like a spherical ball about this size, with a hole in the middle, with a well running through. And I've seen pictures of them on the internet. They're exactly the same. People are saying they dropped from a spacecraft or dropped from rocket ships, which they most certainly weren't. From my experience, they come from some technology that's more advanced than ours. Whatever energy source they have is inside. I shot a lot of them. I was taking it as a sport thing. This is great. Bang, 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 bang. I'm shooting loads of them. I had an air rifle, not an air rifle, a rifle I could put in 19 rounds at a time down the front. I ended up with a load of steel balls flying around. There was something very threatening what was going on.
Did you go and investigate what you'd shot?
Yes, later. And there was a steel ball, large one, with a hole in it. They were later collected by army personnel who came along and said, oh, you did a great job, well done you, and collected them and never heard any more. So
you didn't take one as a souvenir?
Damn right I tried. In fact, a few people took them as souvenirs. Not only did they get shot then, but some of them dropped out on their own accord. Some people hammered big bits of wood in the middle where the hole was and used them as buoys for lobster pots. With the experience I have nowadays, I would call it an ROV vehicle, remote operated vehicle.
Okay.
If I would go a bit further, I would call it maybe remote operated, but I would
maybe an AI
being programmed to do. Yes, I saw a load of them in my time. I would say it was programmed to follow people, to take them up. And most people would say a strange light. They would say a torch, maybe, or something. But no, you're talking the whole, maybe a quarter of the sky full of light. That's huge. You know,
yeah.
That's traditional island belittling. Oh, I saw a strange light. But the whole freaking sky was lit up red or some strange colours. Yeah, when my uncle was, he had a telescope. At the time this was going on, there was a red star in the sky. Everybody grew interested in it. It was very unusual. There's all sorts of excuses put in the local paper. It was Skylab or it was something else. But it was a red star. It was quite big. He had a very powerful telescope. It looked like boxes connected together. Maybe 3 or 4, but it would, rotate around maybe, and it would look like, again, more boxes. That's how he described it anyway. This thing, I think it was a satellite-based thing, land on Earth. It was too big. That's my own thoughts. But it would send down these. I don't even think that was responsible for sending down, but something else would. Maybe another ship would carry these ball things and drop them.
How big were these? What's your estimate?
Half a meter.
Oh, that's quite big.
I used to go down to the shore, and they were washed. I don't know if they like the salt water, but you see them on the shore, getting clink, clink, with the waves, clink, 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 being washed up against the side of a rock or something. There's hundreds of them.
And I just want to go back to your seeing this sheep attempting to be taken. Was it just with one of these spheres that was sending a shaft of energy down onto this animal, or what did that look like?
It would actually descend and go around the animal, actually right around it, and you would see the animal disappear within this large white glowing spear. And it would drop them because it wasn't what they wanted. It would drop the animal. I believe it was after people, not animals. I can't remember what was actually took me outside with a weapon and deciding to shoot because I must have heard stories or heard something. But that's a big thing to take a weapon and start shooting at what might be military personnel vehicles or something. I don't know. I don't remember. Something switched me.
So did your parents have any experiences?
They did, but their way of handling things is to sit there and ignore it.
Okay.
I've got another story about these people. I'm not sure they're my actual parents. It's a bit crazy. What do you do about my life? Stepmother and stepfather, or my auntie and stepfather, one of either. So, not quite my parents, or my mother. My father, my stepfather, hates the sight of me. He despises me, and I despise him. So we're both happy with that. So we stay away from one another now. I don't regret shooting at these things. But something switched. Something I saw made me think that I had to do something, and it was working. I was shooting them down.
Was anybody else doing that?
Another time, one of the fellows up the road, guy called Angus, another guy called Angus. He was an ex-military red cap policeman. I don't know what company he served with. He was a red cap, that's all I know. But this light, the spear, would disappear into the ground and then would reappear in another place. Maybe a few hundred, maybe 10, 15 meters away, would come up again. It went through the ground. It could go through walls. I saw it happening. Even the spear, the metal spear inside must have, whatever energy it had from, it could actually go through walls and through ground. It could disappear in front of you and reappear next to you. And you go, oh, crap, we're shooting that. So I was finding these things appearing all around me at one point, and I don't know if this is a continuous event, it's been going on for a long time, or is it new? I don't have any answer. What I do know is the British government doesn't seem to give a shit, excuse the language, but that's worrying, that they don't care. So to me, either suggest that they've been overwhelmed or in control, or that this has been going on for a long time and it's just part of our natural progress.
All of these experiences, clearly fractured memories, are beginning to come back into consciousness. Pulled together. Do you see a thread, a pattern, or anything sort of guiding your life in a particular direction? Do you think all these experiences have pushed you in certain directions?
If anything, it's broadened my mind. It really has made my mind more open, my experiences. I think whatever I've been through, I've got something back. I'm very open-minded about governments and society and life around us. I question everything, yeah. I used to heal fast when I was young, very fast. I mean, if I cuts and bruises would disappear overnight. They were gone. Anything, That's one benefit I got from it. I immediately noticed. I would say I was smart. I think myself through problems. I'm a good problem solver. Well, certainly, throw a problem at me, I'll work my way around it.
Clearly been in the thick of it one way or another, whether you realise it or not, from your original environment in Lewis to Thailand. Thailand was 1999, 2000. So what about in the intervening years?
I think whatever's happened to me, I think I'm being abducted. I got vague memories of meeting children. Obviously, I have children up there now. I'm involved, whatever. Sometimes I think I go up there and everything, from time to time, everything's explained and I'm back there again. I'm thinking, oh, this is quite normal up here, yeah? What a crazy thing to say, but I feel it's real. So that's very real.
That's very, very common.
I have one up there. I have children down here. I was a sperm donor when I was younger. So I've got no regrets for that.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is unusual, isn't it? I was quite a large sperm donor in my youth. I have a royal bloodline, and one way of keeping it going.
Okay.
And the other side of the family would come from Lord of the Isles, like Clan Ranald. Basically, one part of our family, Lord of the Isles, had 1/3 of Scotland, which was all the islands. And on the other side, we come from the Bruces, who had the remaining 2/3 of Scotland, and some of England at some point. Yorkshire, they're very well known down there, so I'm told. We're very powerful. And that's where my problem comes from with psychotronic weapons. All comes from there.
Because of your lineage and just your lineage, why would that be a case to want to harm you?
Princess Diana took a liking to me when I was a young man and preferred my company to his. She even said so. And he took a slight to that. My royal bloodline goes back 2,000 years. It's very old. I had to go to Thailand to learn about this. I didn't learn at home. I learned from the Catholic Church when I was living in Thailand. Come from Christ. There are ours. I'm not alone. But mine, a pretty strong connection, very strong connection. Well, I come from what's called the Desposini. That's why I'm being harassed by the British government.
Because you're seen as one of these troublemakers.
Yeah, as a troublemaker because of my bloodline. I just have to be there. And so, people to join MI5 and MI6. I'm not sure how fully they got involved. They attack people, some people they take on, and it's just increasing all the time, and it's paying for itself. It's out of control in the UK. It's not happening in the Netherlands, but I know it's happening in Germany.
I was going to ask you if after that event with the Thai incident, did you have any injury or?
I couldn't lift my finger, not any of them. Lying on my bed, I couldn't move. I had no energy whatsoever in my body. I couldn't lift even a fingertip. I was trying to. I don't know why. It was the next day, I began to recover, and that's when I had the door knocking. I was exhausted, absolutely physically exhausted. Wiped out. In our fight against wasn't so successful as we hoped. Maybe they got what they wanted, which was hormones, whatever. It's never ending with me, Joanne. I have memories of time travel. I mean, back in the Middle Ages. Completely lost my mind. I'm operating like normally, but I'm thinking about time travel.
All right. Well, listen, I'll let you get back to your day, and thanks again for being here. And I've noticed that you haven't wanted to show your face. We just have a lovely A.
I didn't know. You should have told me.
Oh, right. I just thought because I saw you initially, I thought that you just clicked it off. Oh, there you are. Oh, was it 3 years or 4 years we've been speaking of? I know you've got married in between times and all the rest of that.
You've got 2 puppies.
Oh, they're gorgeous. I'm a dogaholic. Yes, I'm going to have a life where I can have some dogs again. Anyway, thank you again. You take care. All right.
Okay,
thanks.
then. Thanks very much.
All right.
Good day.
Bye.